Welcome to Straight Talk Reloaded. I'm Stephanie Scolaro. Okay, so this past week has been really busy, has it not? Americans? Oh my God, I was holding my breath watching the inauguration, literally like nervous, sitting there. As it was getting closer to the day, I'm getting nervous, I'm getting nervous because I'm just waiting for somebody to try to shoot him. Not just President Trump, like anybody. Like I was scared to death that I was literally going to be watching TV and watch somebody get assassinated on television. So when after it was done, I was like, he did it. All right. So Donald Trump is now the 47th president of the United States. And as promised, POTUS got right to work. He's signing hundreds of executive orders, reversing all of Biden's EOs and putting new policies in place effective immediately. Some of those policies, only American flags can be flown on governmental buildings. And I will say that I agree with that 100%. I think our government needs to stay out of any of the other political type of things. So if you're a private person, you own your home, you own a business, you want to fly whatever flag you want to fly, go for it. But as long as we are the United States of America, governmental buildings should stick with straight government. You know, the American flag represents all of us, all Americans, every one of us, no matter what you believe, don't believe, what party you're in, what party you're not in. The American flag represents all of us. So when it is flying, it represents our country. And that's just my personal opinion on that. He just signed an EO that is now releasing the JFK, RFK, and MLK files. Kind of weird that they all have similar initials, huh? Very interesting. I never really paid attention to that. But and then of course JFK's grandson comes out and makes some attempt at intellectual commentary on Twitter about, you know, that basically implying that President Trump is doing that for attention, for political gain. He's the president of the United States. I don't think he really has to politically gain anything else dear. So I don't know about that, but he's like the highest. So anyway, I do think it's time. I think we can handle it as a nation. And I think we all know that our government was somehow involved in all of it. So we're going to find out soon enough, I guess, once all that gets on the internet. It's there for good. Also, no more DEI. I'm thrilled. You know, like they say, didn't earn it. It is basically reverse discrimination, DEI. Now, affirmative action. At one time in this country, we needed affirmative action because people were not being treated equally. And I think that we did need affirmative action. We did it. I don't think we need that anymore. Everybody's being afforded the same opportunities, you know, so you have to put yourself out there. And if you want to get higher education, then you have to look into programs and different things. If you don't come from, you know, money, and normal families have to do that, not just people that live maybe, you know, in tougher neighborhoods. So I don't think DEI is helping anybody. In fact, I think DEI actually made racism a thing when we had already kind of moved past that. Look, there's always going to be people that are that way. And that's called ignorance. You know, you can't fix stupid, unfortunately. So, but DEI is not going to address that problem. So I'm glad that it's, you know, gone. No more trophies for everybody. And that's where that crap started. When parents started saying, oh, everybody needs to get a trophy because this one's feelings are hurt. That's where DEI came from. So I blame you guys. It's your fault. So the one EO that I'm sure we are all very aware of is the immediate closing of all of our borders. In fact, 1,500 troops were surged to assist the Border Patrol at the border, which is great. And they've been showing it on TV all day that the Border Patrol agents were actually thrilled that they were able to do the job they've been trained to do instead of literally making sandwiches for migrants and changing diapers. That's literally what they were relegated to doing during the Biden administration. I think that's a disgrace. And frankly, I think it's a slap in their face. Borders Czar Tom Homan has made it clear that they are going after violent offenders and lawbreakers first. So all the BS about, the Border Patrol and ICE, they're coming after your abuelo and your abuela. There's a word for that. It's called basura, okay? That means garbage. That's a bunch of garbage. That's not happening. Okay? That is not happening. What I find extremely disturbing is that the governors and the mayors of sanctuary states and cities are openly defying the executive order by announcing that they're not going to allow their own law enforcement officers to assist ICE in apprehending illegals. So today, for example, there's a guy that ICE picked up. They go to his apartment because he was supposed to be held by the sheriff's department there in Massachusetts, or I think it was Boston. They wouldn't hold him. They released him. So he was in his apartment, and when they got there, another guy that's already been kicked out of the States multiple times for what? Child rape? And the reporter that was reporting it says he asked these guys, and he goes, well, why is this guy even on the street in the first place? Child rape? Multiple child rapes. And they go, that's Massachusetts for you. That's despicable. I'm sorry. Do better, Massachusetts. Do better. This just makes it more dangerous for everybody. I mean, if you live in the apartment complex, what if the guys decide not to come out and they have guns and they start shooting and innocent people get shot, or the Border Patrol agents get killed, or the migrants get killed? I mean, it's not safe for anybody. Schools in these states are passing out instructions to parents explaining to them in Spanish not to comply, and that they have like red cards that are describing what to say, that it's against their constitutional rights and blah, blah, blah. Hello, let me help you, okay? Because clearly none of you went to school at all. If you are here illegally, you are not a citizen of the United States of America, and you do not have constitutional rights. You do not pay taxes. You are not an American. You do not have constitutional rights. So everything those people at the schools are telling you is a lie. Okay? Just so you are aware of that. A lie. What's also a problem is, by the schools doing this, right, they're aiding and abetting criminals, because these people, unfortunately, are considered criminals. You are aiding and abetting criminals. You're giving comfort to criminal illegals. It's a violation of federal law. And Tom Homan has made it very clear he will come after you. And I hope he does, because that's the only way you're going to learn. America is a land of laws. Okay? And secondly, these idiot governors and mayors, I mean, it's an affront to law enforcement in general, local and federal. You're not assisting them. You're making things more difficult, and you're going to get your law enforcement killed because you're not complying. So again, Tom Homan has said it's targeted deportation. They're going after the criminals, and then they will address each phase as they move into it. So any state locals that are hindering ICE, you will be charged. Remember that. Now, my personal opinion on this is that those people who are here illegally, but have maintained a paying job, a home, a family, and have not taken part in any criminal behavior, nor have they associated with criminals. I believe they should be given an opportunity for citizenship. Okay, so how do we do that fairly? Okay, so give them a temporary work visa, right? And put them on some kind of a parole program. I don't know how that would work, but some type of a parole where they're monitored. They have to check in with Border Patrol, ICE regularly. You put them on a schedule. They have to enroll in citizenship classes, meaning they need to learn how to assimilate to the American way of life. They need to learn basic American history, the basics of the Constitution, and the basics of English, speaking English and writing English, just the basics so they can get along in everyday life. I think those people that have been waiting for years to become citizens should be expedited before any of these people that I'm talking about gain citizenship. So anybody that's been waiting, we need to figure out a way to expedite. Our system needs to be revamped completely, okay? Our system sucks. Everybody wants to come here, so we need to figure that out. All this money that Doge is going to find for all of us that we're wasting, like I wrote down here, wasting billions of dollars. There's 230 NGOs. NGOs are non-governmental organizations like all the major religious groups, Catholic Charities, all the religious groups have them, okay? The Red Cross, all these things. They use our tax dollars, billions of tax dollars that the State Department gives them. Basically, they take our tax dollars from other departments, the State Department gives it to these NGOs, and the NGOs are sending it their travel here to the United States of America. And this has been happening for the past 5 years. Oh, who was in charge? Not Donald Trump. So, if any of these illegals don't follow this program that I'm talking about, they miss a check-in, right, with their citizenship class or whatever without an approval, they forfeit their place in line, and then they must self-deport or risk being charged as an illegal alien on foreign soil and then deported and will not be allowed to apply to become a citizen for 10 years. That's my plan. I'm just giving you my 2 cents. So follow the rules or get deported and you cannot apply again for at least 10 years. My grandparents came over legally. Well, my great-grandparents came over legally. And when they did, I think it was 2 greats. My great-great-grandparents came over from Sicily. And what they did at that time was someone came, got a job, started making a little bit of money. Before they had a job, a person here in the United States had to sponsor them, meaning they helped them get a place to stay, they helped them afford it, pay for it, they helped them get a job, because then it was not a burden on the state. Okay? We should not be paying for people to come here. If you want to come here, great, but you got to follow the steps that we, set aside. And yes, charities can donate money and all that, but you're stealing our tax dollars to do this without our permission. It's stealing. And frankly, I feel the people in those departments that went along with that without our permission, out. So, when my great-great-grandparents came over, they spoke only Sicilian, which was a dialect of Italian. So it was even more rare. So only the people from their towns knew their language. Even the Italians didn't understand them. They learned English so they could work and get along. They learned English, and then they passed it down through their families that their kids were going to learn English. When I was a kid, my great-grandparents would tell me, no, speak English, because they were proud to be Americans. They served in World War II. We need to instill that pride in America again. So in order to expedite the removal of foreign nationals like gangs and cartels, POTUS is saying that he may invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. You can look this up and read it. It's very long, so I won't read it to you, but it does give the president extra powers to engage extra people to assist in getting gangs, foreign national gangs, people that are considered, well, I guess they're considered terrorists, right? Any kind of terrorist group, you can utilize that law. So look into it. The Alien Enemies Act of 1798. So going along with this, President Trump wrote an EO that got rid of birthright citizenship. This is a very tricky subject matter, and I think it's important because people have misunderstood this for many, 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 many years, okay? So the legal battle has already started because a federal judge has already come in and said, guess what? This is unconstitutional, and he has stayed the EO, and so now it's going to go through the court systems. But here's the deal. The original Constitution and the guy who actually wrote this, okay, the original author of this citizenship clause was a senator by the name of Jacob M. Howard from Michigan, okay? And he actually wrote down what he meant by the statement that says, let me see where I wrote it. There's a little statement in here that everybody says, oh no, that means that we get to stay here, okay? Here it is. It says, what I have offered is simply declaratory of what I regard as the law of the land already, that every person born within the limits of the United States, comma, and subject to their jurisdiction, comma, is by virtue of natural law and national law, a citizen of the United States. This will not, of course, include persons born in the United States who are foreigners, aliens who belong to the families of ambassadors or foreign ministers accredited to the government of the United States, but will include every other class of persons. So there it is in black and white, the 14th Amendment, that's just the first section of it, explained. So when they wrote that little section there, everybody's like, oh, but it says, and subject to their jurisdiction. What that means is if you're already a citizen of another country, you are not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States of America. Simply because you're visiting the United States of America, you're still considered a citizen of Germany or Italy or whatever. You don't automatically become a citizen because you decide to stay here for a month. That's not how it works, okay? They're also saying because you're born here, it doesn't make you an automatic citizen. Frankly, I feel that if at least one parent is a United States citizen and you're born here, then yes, you should be able to be an automatic citizen of the United States. But if both your parents, neither parent is a citizen of the United States and you're born here, I don't think that you should automatically become a citizen. You should be afforded the right to become a citizen because you were born here, and maybe an easier process. Sorry about that. We had to take a quick break there. So as I was saying, I think if you are born here to parents that are not citizens, maybe we could make it easier for you to become a citizen, but I don't think it should be automatic anymore. Back in the day, that was done when, number one, the United States needed people to emigrate here to become citizens so we could really get the United States going as a country. Also, it was done because slaves that were being freed wanted to make sure that their children that were in fact born here in the United States would be considered United States citizens. So the purpose of that initial read that they wrote into, it was an amendment to the Constitution. So speaking of, so that's my 2 cents on that. But also, we're concerned about what they call chain migration. So what we've been seeing is that women from China have been sent here to just give birth so that those kids can become, quote, citizens. And then they go back to China, take the kids with them, but they use that kid's citizenship to send people here illegally, to have businesses maybe under that particular person's identity. So it has created problems over the years. So that also needs to be looked at and I think revamped. And this is going to go through the court system. So we will be hearing about this, I am sure, in the coming months. I'm sure it's going to go to it will go to the Supreme Court at some point for sure. So that's my opinion on that. Here's your FEMA update for this week. President Trump is going to go to North Carolina, Florida, I think Tennessee, and definitely California to assess all the damage from the hurricanes and from the fires and to send more assistance to all the areas that require it. As a matter of fact, I saw something on X, and it was a lady from North Carolina that had been basically homeless because FEMA cut those people off. She had nowhere to stay, and it was freezing cold up there. She said that as of Inauguration Day, FEMA contacted her and a bunch of other people in that area, immediately put them all up in temporary housing. They all received a furnished apartment with a kitchen, bedroom, air conditioning, heat, and running water. They gave them vouchers for food. They gave them cash. I don't know about transportation, but I mean, can you imagine? She was crying because she couldn't believe that it just took like that. Immediately, they came in and started helping them. And as far as LA goes, 3 new fires as of today, still burning. I mean, nobody sees this as a problem. I don't understand. I hope to God that you guys in LA are really opening your eyes to what's going on there. It's crazy to me that you would tolerate this continuous. And by the way, Orange County, I have family there. I'm talking to you guys in Orange County. If I were you, I'd hire you guys a bunch of private firefighters, line them up all around the OC and get yourselves ready to go because you're red country over there. I don't know. You might lose some water conveniently in your hydrants. So if I were you guys, I'd get really prepared. That's just my 2 cents on that. Now we're talking about the pardons. President Trump. Right? Everybody's up in arms because he said he was going to pardon the J6ers. He did what he said he was going to do. Okay. President Biden, on the other hand, said, I'm not going to pardon my son. And he did. Now, I would have pardoned my son if I was him. I would have done that. So I understand that. But then he gave preemptive pardons. And he gave preemptive pardons to the J6 committee. The J6 committee, who are mostly attorneys, they intentionally destroyed all the evidence that was in their trial. Now, would you destroy evidence if you knew the evidence showed that these people did some bad things and that they deserve to be incarcerated for it? Would you destroy that? No, you wouldn't. So when this comes out, because it will come out, I can tell you right now, there is a copy of it. They do have it. I've been reading about that. It will come out and everyone will get to see exactly what happened. And what happened was it was a setup, okay, by certain people in our government. And these people were set up. They incarcerated people for misdemeanors that are not usually incarcerated. I mean, if you want to charge them with something because they broke something or they destroyed or defiled something when they walked in there, I totally agree with that. But they arrested people and put them in jail for years for walking through and doing this, literally. looking around, and then turning around and walking out. And they've been incarcerated. They looked for them for 2 years. They let these people live their lives, and they came finding all those. They literally were watching video, so it's not destroyed. So they were watching video to find these people in the states that they live in, and they arrested them. So President Trump says, nope, I'm going to pardon them, with the exception of a few of them that had other things going on that they're looking at. So I don't know what those are. We'll find out. These people start to get released, and they start talking. Well, the people in DC were not being released. So people on the ground there were like, what's going on? Why are you not being released? This is an unconditional pardon, which means effective immediately from the time that you know about this pardon. That means that whoever's holding them has to release them, or at least start the process of releasing them. Well, it turns out Mayor Muriel, is it Bowser? She said, no, I'm not releasing them. I don't know what her reasons were, but she said no. So the jail guy is like, sorry, I can't release them. The mayor has not given me permission. So they held them another 24 hours. Well, they're coming out. They wanted those people to sign NDAs. That's why she wasn't allowing them to be released. Because when they got out, they started talking about how they were being treated in these jails. They were all held in solitary confinement for the entire time they were in jail. Some of them were not fed regularly. Some of them, they removed all their clothes with the exception of underwear and made them sit in the jail cell without blankets, pillows, nothing. Freezing cold. Okay. They didn't allow them to go outside. Usually they're supposed to be allowed an hour outside in the sunlight because, it's a human being needs sunlight, vitamin D. Would not allow them to even do that. Some of them were being beaten by the guards. They have actual bruising. And a man that had cancer was not allowed to receive his cancer treatment, and he died. I think 4 people committed suicide. Disgusting. I am disgusted with my government. So all those things to me need to be looked into, and anybody who had any type of offense done to them by the Bureau of Prisons. The Bureau of Prisons needs to be revamped. Another thing that we need to fix. Terrible. And the J6 people who put these people in jail all got preemptive pardons. I don't know if that's constitutional. I believe that you have to actually be charged with something in order for it to be pardoned. What are you being pardoned for? Living? So I believe that it's going to be found to be unconstitutional, but I'm not a constitutional scholar. I will just say, I don't know. Nominees for the cabinet are moving along very slowly, and that is by design. They're saying it, the Democrats are actively saying that they're going to request to have all the Senate has all these weird little rules. Oh, we have to have 3 hours of dissertation back and forth before, so whatever, but they're doing it. So, and I was pleased to hear that Senator Thune said, oh, that's wonderful. We're going to do that, but we're voting on these people and we're going to do it this week because certain people need to be put in place for national security purposes. We got John Ratcliffe for CIA, which is great, but we do need our Secretary of Defense approved. We do need DHS, Kristi Noem, approved. We do need our treasurer approved so that we don't go bankrupt. Hello. Okay. So there are major important people. We got our Secretary of State approved. We need these people approved. So it's very important that they get put into place. So I'm expecting Congress, Republicans in Congress, do your job. Do your job. American people are sick of it. They're tired of this. And that includes Democrats. They want our government to work for us, the taxpayers. And if you will not do that, you should not be in government. Simple, very simple. Common sense, people. Common sense. I suspect a major audit will be coming for a lot of these places. And one of the most important EOs that President Trump did, he took us out of the World Health Organization. He removed the United States of America from the WHO. Thank you, God. The WHO wants global governance. They want to be able to tell every country in the world, you're going to lock down and you're going to lock down and you're going to get vaccinated and you're going to get vaccinated. And if you don't, guess what? We're cutting off your food supply. I'm not joking. This is what they want to do. So we are no longer part of it. Thank you, God and President Trump. He also wrote an EO prohibiting HHS, the FDA, the CDC, and the NIH from all external communications, all health alerts, data updates, no updating websites or issuing health advisories, or no scrubbing of files. And this is indefinitely, meaning until further notice. They are not allowed to come out with any the FDA has decided that we have a new vaccine and every American needs to take it. Nope, not going to be doing that. And I'm very, very glad that he's doing that. And I want you to understand and take note that he did this after he met with Bill Gates at Mar-a-Lago. I find that to be very eye-opening. Something in that conversation must have made him say, we need to pull out of the World Health Organization, because he knows that Gates is all involved in that. And he's put basically the kibosh on any communications in any of our health organizations until we get RFK Jr. in there. And we need him approved. We need him approved. That is a very important appointment. My last conversation gripe about what went down this week. The National Prayer Service. Yeah, I'm really pissed off about this. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, after every inauguration, the president, vice president, and other members of Congress, they attend a prayer service. I believe it's usually held in the Washington National Cathedral. And this year, Bishop Marianne Budd, I don't know if you say Bud or Buddy, spoke directly to President Trump. And she got up to speak from the pulpit. She was standing at the pulpit with a microphone, and she had a few things to say to President Trump. And I'm going to read to you what she said to him. It blew my mind that she actually said it. And frankly, everybody was stunned, and you could see they were stunned. So she said it very, very nicely. I will say her tone was lovely. But what she said, no, not the time or the place, okay? She said, "In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy on the people in our country who are scared now. They are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shift in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here." And then she went on, okay? There's nothing wrong with the idea of the things that she is saying, but she directed it to the president at a time when all of the world, really, who watched the inauguration is listening. That was an opportunity for her to, as a gay, she's a member of the LGBTQ plus community. She makes that very clear. As a member of the community, she could have used that time to really be effective and show that she is a God-fearing person and is asking the president to, be kind to everyone and show mercy for those, and try to use kindness in any of his judgments, that he's got hard judgments to make coming up in his new job, and for him to use kindness in making those judgments. What's wrong with that? But she had to politicize it. She's she's a loud and proud LGBTQ plus advocate. She's a George Floyd protester. She's a Democratic activist. It's all over all of her social media. And frankly, I, as a Christian, was offended that she utilized that opportunity, which is supposed to just bring us all together, right? Our new president and the family. She's supposed to be bringing everyone together. And she used her little 15 minutes of fame to go up there and push her progressive ideology. I did not think it was the time or the place for her to be doing that. And that's just my 2 cents again on that. That's a lot of cents. I don't know. I think it added up maybe about $20 worth of my 2 cents here today. So I'd like to know who scheduled her to do that. I'd like to know if the Trump team vetted her. Because to me, with people threatening the president of the United States and him having 2 attempts at his life, what if she was someone who kind of, the little click happened, and while she was up there, she lost her cool with the president and, I don't know, approached him and, maybe she lunged at him. I don't know. Because, it's an emotional thing for people, their belief system. When they feel maybe their belief system is being attacked, who knows what she could have done. So do better, Trump team. We need to look into that, right? Well, I just say this. The people have spoken. Donald Trump is now our new president. We want Donald Trump, his cabinet, and everybody up there on the Hill, Congress, to do their jobs. Okay? Stop stalling the process of getting everybody installed in their government positions, and let's get to work as Americans, because America needs our help, and we really have a lot of work to do to get ourselves back to the America that I knew when I was growing up. That's all for this week on Straight Talk. Thank you for joining me tonight. I'm Stephanie Scolaro. I hope to see you all here again with me next week, where we will talk about all the latest news of the world. Have a wonderful evening.